connecting parents to Schoology. Our topic is connecting parents to Schoology. And really, our topic is more just connecting parents, right? It's important that we get our parents connected, and it's important that we provide an ease of access. So you're here with me today, Rosemary Jane, and Ashley Badgett is moderating our chat. Please use that. We also have a special guest with us today, Sara Schroeder. And Sara, if you could unmute and just introduce yourself to everybody on the call.
Sure. Thanks, Rosemary. We have a little feedback from your microphone. You might want to mute. Thanks. I'm loud. Hi, I'm Sara Schroeder. I am a faculty member in the School of Education at the University of Cincinnati. I coordinate all of our undergraduate educational technology programs. And I'm also a mother of a 6th grader and an 8th grader. My 8th grader has been in online school for 3 years now. So I actually went through what parents are going through now 3 years ago, when in the middle of the year, we had to pull my daughter out of school and put her in online school. And my son just started doing remote learning a couple weeks ago. So I come at this both from the parent perspective, but also from the trainer and technologist and teacher perspective. All of my classes have gone remote. And also, I've been supporting a lot of teachers who have had to go remote. So I wear 3 hats in this conversation.
That's great. Thanks so much for joining us, Sara. And then, so that really kind of brings us to our first agenda topic about why connecting our parents with Schoology is important. We are not, rah-rah Schoology. We think it's the best tool in the world. But what we have done is purchase the enterprise version for our entire district, pre-K to 12. So you guys hear me talk all the time about it. Sara, can you tell me from your perspective, having 2 children working on different content, and why it's important to have a tool like we do at our district at CPS, like Schoology, and why our teachers should all connect, even if they're using other tools?
Sure, absolutely. As a parent and also as a technology trainer, I hear from parents, and I've had this experience myself, where having to go to multiple platforms or multiple places really increases the stress that caregivers and parents are already feeling at home. Right now, my son is getting emails from teachers. Some teachers have him emailing his work. Some teachers have him submitting his work in Google Classroom. Some teachers have him sharing his Google Docs with them. Some teachers have him screenshotting and doing different things. And while he can figure it all out, even my son, who is a very strong student, is struggling with getting his work turned in. And it's not that he's not doing the work. It's that it's very difficult to juggle all of these multiple platforms. So as a parent, I would encourage all teachers, if you are using other platforms, to have one landing place for your students consistently across a team, so that if you have a 3rd grader who has 2 teachers, you're both putting everything in one place for parents and students, or caregivers and students, and that they know they go here and they see everything, even if it's a link to Google Classroom, even if it's a link to a Google Doc you want them commenting on. Not sending it out in multiple places would really help, because it took me weeks to get used to it with my daughter. We purchased whiteboards and dry erase markers and paper and pencils and checklists and calendars, just trying to get everything into one place for her. And not every caregiver and parent has that know-how or those resources right now. So I would just encourage you to kind of do that checklist for them to help those parents out. And they're all under so much stress right now, whether they're working at home and trying to parent or caregive, or they are working in a necessary business and their children are home with someone else or without them sometimes, and needing an easy way to access things. So I think Schoology is fantastic as a way to keep everything in one place, be consistent across teachers, and help those parents and students who are experiencing massive cognitive and emotional load right now, trying to get things done, because they really do want to get them done for you. But I know even, a technologist as a parent and a straight A student we're having challenges getting things turned in. So be super understanding and help them by being as streamlined and simple as humanly possible, and that would really help.
Thanks so much, Sarah. I am trying to keep a rather tight schedule this morning, but it was really important that we all begin with the why this is important. We are not just asking teachers to learn this other tool. We are trying to provide a central location where all students and connected parents have one place to go, and then they just need to view their courses and connect with those teachers in there. So that's the goal of this morning, is ease of access really for everyone. I do want to just let you all know, because I know Sarah has a really busy schedule and it was really awesome of her to join us today, but I'm going to pull in this other resource. Sarah hosts a webinar session on, is it Mondays and Wednesdays, Sarah?
It's Mondays and Wednesdays for teachers, and they're free, and they can get contact hours for that. We'll send out certificates. And then it is Wednesdays and Fridays for parents and caregivers. For parents and caregivers, and that was a part I definitely wanted to hit as well. So Mondays and Wednesdays, UC is supporting all of us as educators with additional resources, but on Wednesdays and Fridays, she's actually got a platform built out for parents, and I've looked at some of it. I'm happy to be guest hosting that this afternoon with her, but if you want to add the link to Better in 30 for your parents to your Schoology course, that would be one resource to add. And I just wanted to mention that while we had Sarah still on the call. And so I would honestly encourage the parent sessions for teachers as well. I think they're very helpful to hear what parents are going through, and they may be a parent themselves trying to work in homeschool, or we're not going to call it homeschooling, but they're trying to teach remotely and coach their own children going through school. And we're going to talk about that this afternoon a little bit at 2:30. Yes, we are. So I saw that Ms. Dot asked for us to post a link. So I've got that right here in the chat, the Better in 30. And I really encourage you to look through those resources and especially look at some of the previously recorded ones that she has in here. This isn't homeschooling, coaching your kids, like that mindset shift for us as educators, and then as well as being at home with the parents. I think that was your first topic or close to it, right, Sarah? Guys, those are awesome resources. So I'm going to get back on the topic now of Schoology, and thank you, Sarah, for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it. All right. If any of you are wondering how I got Sarah as the larger view in here, it's just by the pin. So as you are hosting these large sessions in Google Meet, if somebody needs the spotlight, you can pin them, and then that individual would have the spotlight for you to be able to share that individual with the rest of the class, so to speak, for the group. All right, so now we are going to get into some of the nuts and bolts of Schoology and how we can access some information within our courses for our parents. We're going to be looking at how we can see that parents are connected, and if they are or aren't, some next steps we can take. So that's getting into the work of it now. We're going to go into Schoology for that. All right, when you go into Schoology, just go ahead and land in any one of your courses, and you will want to pull up a course where you know you have students. Now, I have a background in primary, and I can tell you that as a former primary teacher, if I was teaching elementary, I would probably be hubbing all my resources in my homeroom because I was self-contained. And that's not going to work for any teachers who maybe only see half their students in their homeroom. But there are ways that you can link up with your teaching teams and link those homerooms. Or if you just strictly teach content, maybe you're at the high school level, we know you need to connect with your parents just as much. It's just as important for you because each of your students has anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 teachers. And then that child, if they have a sibling, we could double that if they're both high schoolers, and that parent could have up to 14 teachers to keep track of. So we want to make sure that we're using that place in Schoology. You as individual content teachers can check in your Schoology course by scrolling down to the Members tab. So the Members tab within your course, you click that. And this is a sample. Oh, I went to the wrong one, sorry. Let me go to, whoops, this one. All right, go down to the Members area.
And then you can see who is connected to your course. Now, these are all the students in my demo course. But you, and I don't want to pull up a real course with real student names. I've talked with everybody in this course ahead of time. But you can really quickly see at a glance if a parent is connected because their name appears in gray right below the student's name. So student name, parent name. So at a glance, I can see that Grace's parent is not connected, Jaton's parent is not connected, and Jennifer's parent is not connected. You might get in there and not have any connected parents at all. But I want to empower you with how you can get those parents connected. So that's the next step. We went into our members to identify who is connected, whether that's some, all, or none. Then we need to have the information for the parent access codes. Many of you thought that you had to get that from the school front office or the help desk, and that's actually not true. We provide that information to the front office and the help desk and places like that. We can provide it that way as a way to direct parents if you're getting overwhelmed. But right now, if you are connecting with your parents already anyway, you actually have their Schoology access code right at your fingertips. Now, I'm still in the members tab, but I'm looking over here at the parent access codes link right here at the bottom of the green box. So some do's and don'ts. Do not share this access code here. This one is to join the course as a student. And we don't want to add our parents as students. For one thing, the next day, PowerSchool, the sync would wipe them out anyway. If they're not actually on the roster, it would knock them right off. But also, too, they're not supposed to be assuming the seat of a student. They need a parent account. So right here, this parent access codes folder, you click on that link and it prompts you to download a CSV file. Now, I have previously downloaded and blocked out some of the secure student information. So I'm going to pull that up instead. Bear with me one moment while I get that back up. All right, so I've clicked on download. And when I download it, you can see that the parent access code CSV downloads here. If you're on Firefox, sometimes it downloads up in the upper right-hand corner, Safari, but it will download that file. You open that file, and under column F, as in Frank, there is the parent access codes. Now, I like to take that cell and make it larger, and I even like to bump up that font just so I can more easily see those codes. So then, the next don't. Please don't send this file to parents. That file contains access codes for every child in the class, and so we don't want to send that list. But what we do, what we should do is when I'm connected with Grace's parent, I can say, here's your access code. If I'm having the opportunity to connect individually with my parents, whether it's through email or on the phone, first question I recommend you ask is, do you already have a Schoology account? Maybe for an older sibling? And if they do, then you want to give them the access code for the child in your course that's not on and prompt them to log into their parent account. I'm going to show everything I'm telling as well. So we want to ask them, do you have a Schoology account? If the answer is yes, you want them to add the child from your roster that currently doesn't have a connected parent. If the answer is no, you want to have them go to Schoology.com and sign up. All right, but they need this access code. So that's what you have. Now, I'm also going to show you where you can get those access codes. What the resources that you can share with parents for how to connect. But since we've just gone through a couple of things here, we went into Schoology, we went into a course, and we looked at our members. We looked at those members to visually identify who already has a connected parent. And then we looked at where to access our parent access codes, download those, and opening that CSV file. That was a lot of steps. So I want to make sure I back up and ask Ashley, have I missed any questions along the way, Ashley, that I need to address?
No, no questions.
Awesome. All right, the more often we do this, the more I get a little more confident that we're providing good, clear information. Okay, so our next step then is how we direct parents once they get into Schoology. So for that, I'm going to pull over what Schoology looks like from the parent perspective and how you're going to direct them. So you are going to direct your parents to go to Schoology.com. And I know that we've shared over and over again that that's not where we go as staff. As staff, we're hoping that you're going in through Clever, just right there in your Chrome browser, or that you just make sure that you are going to the Schoology.cps-K12. That's for staff and students. But for parents, we just want them to go to Schoology.com. When they land on this page, if we ask them if they have a Schoology account and they said no, then we provide them with this access code. And then we tell them to click on sign up as a parent. When they click that, I think I must have bumped login. One moment. Sign up as a parent. All right, for some reason it is logging me in. This has never happened on here, but what happens is, I'm gonna pull up my visuals. They log in, they click sign up as a parent, and it prompts them to drop that access code right here. When they do that, it then walks them through creating their parent account. They enter the parent's first and last name, the email address that they want to use, or just username. Maybe they don't have an email address. Hopefully they do. Creating a password, and then they register. Once they're registered, they're in as a parent. And if they have additional children, siblings, they can just add that child. I know that that view is a little small on your screen. So I'll increase it and go back up. So they selected parent. They drop the access code, click continue. It walks them through adding their first and last name, their contact information, and then they've got their parent account created. If they have a second or third sibling in the family, they can just click on the drop-down arrow and click Add Child. So now I'm going to show you what that looks like in my account. All right, if they are in to their child's account, they click on the drop-down menu and click the button Add Child. Now, we have had some parents who say that when they are in Schoology that they don't have any courses, and that is correct. Parents do not have courses. Their child has a course. So it looks like my screen is loading. So while that loads, I'll come back onto our meeting. Let me bump this back down to a normal size. All right, this resource is in this resource materials folder, which I'm going to share with you now. All right, that resource folder is going into your chat box. So that's the resource folder to that drive. Inside the resource folder, I have the parent step-by-step guides. You can email those to the parent, or you can get on a Google Meet with them like we are right now and share the screen and show them. There are also a slide deck for our next topic, ways for teachers to connect parents. And for that, I'll bump that into present mode in just a minute. Not ways for teachers to connect parents, sorry, ways for teachers to find student access information. So I'll go back to that in a minute. There are some resources in here that you can use when you're back in person with your students. I suggest you send these out at the beginning of the year next year. First day of school, I'd explain to them that we're using Schoology and how to connect. And so there's some good information in here for when you are back in person. So you can look at those as well. But these two resources, Schoology, parent step-by-step instructions, and ways for teachers to access student information can be found right here. All right, there has been a way added, and last week when I had this session, I did not share that way for accessing information, but I'm going to show it to you now. And for that, bear with me just one moment. I'm pulling in another screen. All right. So all of our students in CPS actually do have email accounts. In K through 12, I should say. Let me go to Google. So if I'm logged in, and I'm going to go in as a student, I have gotten permission from this child's parent to use her account. If I go in as a student to Google, I have a Gmail account. We have that tab there already for students. So that student can click on that Gmail account. And then here's a really great thing, guys. We have sent them via email their access codes for Schoology and PowerSchool. So you could also direct your parents to just have their child open their email or open their child's email and get the access codes right from there. And they can connect to both applications, Schoology and PowerSchool. So please make sure you direct your parents to know that there is a Gmail account with their K through 12 students, and all access codes have been emailed there. That could save you some time if you're having to call every parent on your roster. All right. So again, make sure you glance here and see who you do need to reach out to, that you know where to download your parent access codes if you want those at your fingertips. But then you also have that step-by-step guide handy for your parents. I've included that in the contact or in the comments box. And next, we're going to be looking at ways for you to access student information in general, looking in PowerSchool, looking in Clever as well. So let's talk about that. But first, Ashley, any questions I need to address?
No questions.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know what? And I'm going to just keep on rolling through.
Oh, wait,
Ashley,
I'm sorry. Lisa just asked a question. The email sent to parents. The email sent to parents is parents access or both student and parent access and username?
Yeah, let me clarify that really, really clearly. The emails sent out were sent to students for parents. That was the easiest way for us to get the information out to all students. Dr. Kimberly McLean, she was on the call. I'm not seeing her now, but she set that up. And every child got an email with parent access codes for Schoology and PowerSchool. So that went to student email accounts. If you need to access a parent email, I'm about to show you the ways that you can get to that information through PowerSchool. So you can email that to parents as long as you find that email address in PowerSchool. Now, another thing that's been going on is some parents, you've connected with them and they say, okay, here's my changed phone number or here's my new email address. What we're asking that you do is to get with your senior support specialist, front office clerical, and make sure you give them their updated information, just like you would have done if the parent had sent you a note to school that day and said, you know, here's my new number, then they will update PowerSchool as well. The reason that's so important is that if parents are joining or giving you their contact information, but it's not in PowerSchool, if we send out robocalls or emails to all the parents, they won't get it if their information's not in there. So you're not asked to input the information. You're just asked to give that information to your senior support specialist, and that individual will enter it just like they normally would if a teacher or a counselor or anybody were to give updated information. They will update PowerSchool. Not 100% sure if that hit your question or not, but emails to parents should go through PowerSchool. It should be not through PowerSchool, excuse me, but the information should be accessed by PowerSchool and verified. And if you know it's the parent, then share that with your senior support specialist to get it updated. All right, next we're looking at this slide deck on how to find your information for parents. So when you log into PowerSchool, you can get a list, because some of you are going to get on the phone with parents, and the parents are going to say, I don't know my child's email address. What are you even talking about? Didn't even know my child has email. All right. If you go into PowerSchool and you click on to the far left under navigation in PowerTeacher, reports. When you click reports, there's a drop-down menu that appears in the main column right here. And you can select the report student web IDs. If you select that report down here in this lower area, sorry, every time I move my cursor, that pulls up. But down there, it pulls up a report that has the student's first and last name, their user ID, and their password. Their user ID is the beginning of their Gmail address. So it's user ID at cincinnatips.org. Again, that's cincinnatips.org. That is the child's email address. All right. There is also another way inside of there. This is the report that displays. You can go into those reports, or you can just click on the backpack symbol, like by your homeroom or whatever class that you're in. And then the roster of your students shows up. You can click on any one of those students, and what it's going to do is show you their first and last name, their web ID. I don't know how to make this go away. Sorry, guys. Shows their web ID. I'm going to stop moving my cursor for a minute. Go. All right. Shows their web ID, their password, and then you'll notice is this one says student email and there's not one. That's because this is a preschool child's account I brought up. For our older students, it will show their username at cincinnatips.org. So K through 12, it will show their email address there. So you can also access it in there as well. Having that report is really handy though, as long as you just commit to memory that the at part of their email is at cincinnatips.org. Now the last bit is a child may have reset their Google password. It does default to the 8-digit date of birth assigned to them, but if a child has changed their password, that parent or child can contact the help desk at itmhelp@cpsboe.k12.org. So we're gonna, and Ashley, if you could please drop the ITM help email address in the chat. So if a child's Gmail says, password has been changed, the help desk can help that parent get that password reset. All right. The other place that I want to remind you, you can look up student information is in Clever. And to do that in Clever, you would launch Clever. I'll show that in just a second live. Launch Clever. Once you're into your teacher's side, you go into classes. And if you scroll down, your roster appears and you can select a child and you can look at their username, their date of birth, and there is even a phone number listed. I don't teach right now. I work for the central office, so I'm not aware of if that phone number is the one that's pulled in from PowerSchool or not. But what I want to show you is to get to Clever, you just click on this little extension here if you're already signed in and syncing to Chrome. Now you might remember earlier in the call when I said to log into Schoology, it's best to go through Clever. As a district employee, and for all of our students, all the apps are really best accessed through Clever because it takes them to the correct landing page. But that's sort of a whole nother training that I don't want to get into the weeds of. But your Clever icon is right here. If you are signed in and syncing to your Chrome browser, the extension pops up right there. And I'm going to show you this teacher's Clever account. This is what it looks like for this teacher when she's logged in. All right, so she's got her favorites marked already. And then there is a Schoology link right down here. We're going to favorite that for her as well. Right, so you can favorite any apps that you want and it'll appear up here. But if she clicks on classes, then she can go into that homeroom. I don't want to launch that because I don't want to show you her student's roster name. She can go in that homeroom and that's where she accesses their student information. So again, that was in Clever. The teacher is logged in. That teacher clicks on classes and can view their rosters right there in homeroom. So we looked at how to do that from PowerSchool and just pulling a report, PowerSchool, and getting into our specific individual student information. The question we had last week is how can I just find one student's information without having to use the whole list? It's right here, or right here in Clever. Okay, those teacher resources are all in that folder that I have already dropped a link in for you. I'm gonna look back at our agenda, and just so you know, I keep this on my Chrome account because it keeps me healthy and moving while I'm doing online PDs. All right, so looking back at the agenda now, we've looked over how you can see if parents are already connected. We looked at the access codes. We looked at some do's and don'ts. Don't share the class code. Don't share the whole CSV file that downloads with a parent, but do send them an individual code. We also looked at into the student email accounts and saw the way that a child's email looks. And this is the email you want to point parents to open. Again, I'm not going to open it because this is an actual one of our students at the district. Her parent shared this, said I could share her account. This is what they're looking for. I think if I hover, there it goes. So that's the email that they want to look for. That could be a faster way for you to share that. If you're already communicating with parents via Dojo, for example, there are lots of you who already have parents connected in Dojo. You could give them directions to go to their child's email address and log into Schoology so that they can get connected to all their children's teachers in one location. Your class Dojo is awesome. I used to be a Dojo mentor. I think it's a building mentor. I think it's a great tool, but it's great for communication and behavior. When we get into online assignments and being connected to our siblings and all the child's teachers, Dojo is a more limited tool. We have Schoology because it's our learning management system. It connects all students to all of their teachers, and all parents can access all their children in the district in one app. So in the next half hour, my agenda is to show you some ideas for how to create content in your course that engages our parents, as well as using Schoology as that hub for your other materials. If you're using Google Classroom, by all means, keep using it. But we just want to have that one place. We think back to the beginning of the call. Sara shared with us, as a parent with just 2 children at home in older grades, it's really hard to know all the different places to go. So if all of us as teachers would put those links in Schoology, then that parent could log into their parent Schoology account and they could easily see what their child needs to be working on. Oh, you need to work on your biology assignment. Make sure you click on your teacher's Google Classroom for that. You've got some time devoted to that later today. So that's a way that we can empower our parents to better manage the at-home learning. The last thing we're going to also look at is what all of this looks like on mobile, because we are very aware that many of our parents do not have a laptop or maybe even a tablet at home, but a lot of them are using their mobile phones, and that's how we're connecting with them. I'm going to show you the Schoology app, show you what some of the course samples that I'm going to share with you look like on the app, and just reiterate why it's important that we use this tool, but also show you how great it is via mobile. So we're moving into our last 2 topics of the agenda, these samples for how to create content that engages parents and students, as well as looking at this through mobile. If you are hopping off, we've just passed the 30-minute mark. So if you complete the form, I just saw Ashley post it. If you're hopping off the call, make sure you complete that form first. We do round our hours in here for 30 minutes to an hour. So make sure you complete the form, and then, whoops, on the question side, your name and employee ID number are optional fields. If you want to earn contact hours, you do have to provide your name and employee ID number. But if you're just going to give us some feedback, which we really value, we are shaping a lot of what we do based on the comments that you guys are leaving in this feedback form. Just make sure that you fill out the feedback, whether you want contact hours or not. What type of training this was. This is a joined virtual PD session, video conference. You can select this, 30 minutes to an hour. And then those of us who are on the call right now is Ashley Badgett moderating and myself, Rosemary Jane. Give a quick review of the call itself, of the PD session, but then add your comments here, please. We really value those. I would like to point out that there is a link to our schedule of virtual PD. I'm going to bring that in. So that is linked right in your feedback form, so you can see what else is coming up next. And then if the topics in that schedule don't work for you, or if those times don't work for you, you can create, or you can submit the training request form, which is also linked in the feedback. We are doing our very best to put everything in one location for you as well. We're housing everything out of Schoology. We're trying to serve as models for you in this. Our team, Learning Technologies team, hosts everything out of the CPS Tech Talk course. That's our hub. And then we give you links to a Google slide with our schedule. We give you links to other resources outside the district, but it's our hub. So that's what we're going to get into next, is using the Schoology as your hub and some samples of what you can include in your course. So I'm just going to pause while I shift gears. I'm on my other screen and I'm pulling in some of those samples that I just mentioned. We're going to be looking at a preschool sample, and we're going to be looking at an intermediate 4th through 6th grade sample. We're looking at some homerooms, and then looking at some ideas for how you can just link to other resources. So when Sarah talked about her son's teacher is saying, just share your Google Doc with me. That's how that teacher is working. That's fine if that's what you do. I'm going to show you how to link to a Google folder or a Google link. If you're using a Google Classroom, same principle applies. You just link to that, but maybe give some information about how to join. So I'm pulling up those samples now. Sorry, I'm having trouble pulling up one account, so bear with me. Remote learning. Ah, here it is. Here we go. All right, the first one that we're going to look at is a preschool example. I've actually shown this one several times in the last week now. I think last Monday was the first time I shared this course. But some things that you can do to make it easier for your students to navigate is right here in this upper corner is edit your course picture. To edit your picture, you just hover your cursor over it and click edit picture. Now, why is this important? If our parents or students are logging in and they pull up their courses and our teachers have not edited their course picture, this could be what they encounter. This is actually a screenshot from a second grade student at Kilgore School. And you can see that all of the, and this is a couple weeks ago, so I'm sure this is updated, but all the courses have this blue generic book icon. So if I'm not a proficient reader, or if I'm just scrolling through this on mobile, there's nothing that's grabbing my attention. But here in this preschool teacher's example, she actually put a picture of her kids sitting on the playground in a circle. This is her course icon. So if I'm a parent or student, I'm going to know, oh, there's my class, and tap on that. She has added a folder for family communication with newsletters inside. So the typical newsletters that she was sending home via paper when we were in person, she's now adding copies of those into this folder. The next piece is a visual page that's been pulled in. That resource is available to early childhood teachers on the ECE group in Schoology. So if you're an early childhood teacher, you can just pull that resource right over into your course. You can actually pull both copies, and you can just add to course right here and copy that right over if you're a preschool teacher. So this is a page that has been put into Schoology, and it says resources for families learning at home. So there's some visual links. Now this one is more directed because this is a preschool class for parents, right? For families learning at home. So the first link is a link to that remote learning plan for preschool. Then the next links are preschool specific. This one is Scholastic's Learn at Home for pre-K and K. And then they've got some specific things that they use in preschool curriculum as sort of visual tiles. Okay, with this example, I'm going to show you what this looks like in mobile. So for right now, I'm going to stop presenting because mobile is going to show better if I have a full screen. And I'm going to pin. Oh. All right.
Rosemary, can you slow? I know you have a lot to cover, but can you slow down just a little bit?
Yeah. What part is there a specific part somebody wants me to go back over? And I'm sorry, I did speed up a little just because we're at the 15-minute mark. This hour always flies by so much faster than I expect.
Jennifer, if you want to unmute yourself or to respond to that, please do.
Thank you. I was just wondering if you could just go over how to link that resource into the folder. Just go a little slower.
Yeah, I hadn't shown how to do that yet. I will certainly do that, how to add links to the folder.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were doing. Okay,
No,
sorry.
first so the topic I was on right now is sample ideas of what you can do.
Okay.
I didn't get into any of the how-to, but I'm so glad that you clarified that. I will make sure when I'm presenting that I articulate better the how-to is coming. And also too, we don't get into the weeds of exactly how to do everything, but I do have resources on my YouTube channel I can share with you. I'm sorry if that was confusing for those of you joining me for the first time. Right now I'm giving samples of what you can do, and then we'll look at how-tos. Now it took me a moment to scroll in my app. I should not be presenting, and you should be able to see my phone. When you are having those conversations with parents and you ask them, are you connected to Schoology? I would definitely say, okay, great, now you're connected, download the mobile app because it's extremely mobile friendly. So if that parent goes into the Schoology course of their child, I was hoping this had reloaded by now. All right. I got to take that off the screen and log in real quick. I'm going to stick to mobile right now. If that parent logs in and they click on their child's name, not their own name, they can see their list of courses. So that homeroom course is right here. When I click on that, you will see that a few things have changed. When we looked at the sample course, the folder had a little image on it that said newsletters, and that page, resources for families, all the icons were displayed. On mobile, there's just one shift, but it's why you have to make sure you name your, whatever it is, your resource, the folder or the page very clearly for students and parents. So this one is called Resources for Families Learning at Home. So if I'm a parent, I just tap that resource, but then mobile, it opens up beautifully. So all of the information is still there. And if I'm a parent and I want to go straight in to the Scholastic Learning at Home, and just bear in mind that my background is primary, so I look at primary things a little bit more, I relate to those a little better. But I did actually go through these Scholastic Learn at Home activities, and I did them from my phone, and they worked beautifully. So the Scholastic Learn at Home that goes through all grades, and you can put a link to your specific grade level content right in your Schoology course. So right there, my students' parents have a visually friendly, easy to use resource right here in their Schoology course. And as a parent, these two folders, this is super easy for me. Newsletters, I know what a class newsletter is. Resources for learning at home, oh yeah, I need those. I need a lot of help because this has been hard for me transitioning to being my child's teacher. All right, so I am gonna show a quick how-to. I'm going to show one or two more quick examples, though, of what to add, samples of what to add. All right. In addition to this example from this homeroom, let me just pull up another one. All right. This is a 4th to 6th grade intermediate example. I have had the pleasure of working with this teacher, Ms. Kiefer, at North Avondale Montessori now the entire time, all 3 weeks of remote learning. She has been getting online and creating awesome resources. But she's got everything hubbed in her homeroom, and she's actually renamed the section of that course Remote Learning. And I know I'm going to get to the how-tos in a minute. So she renamed the section so that when her parents and students hit that drop-down menu of courses, their course appears with that picture, okay? It's that school and apples and all that. But then the title of that course appears as Homeroom Remote Learning. That's really helpful for parents or students to see that, oh, this is where I go. And this is kind of what I was talking about making a hub. Your homeroom course is a great place. If you teach intermediate grade levels and your homeroom only has 1/3 of your students, I would recommend that you try to team up with your other team teachers and link your homerooms together. We won't have time to go into the how-to of that, but that is a strong recommendation I would make. All right, so let's look at some of those how-tos now. I'm going to go back into my sample course. All right, to add something like this with the pictures that are clickable, what I did was go to Add Materials. I'm in my course, I'm on Materials. add materials. And the tool that I used to display the visuals was add a page, just a page. What that does is create a page, almost like a mini website within your course. Simple page, excuse me, not mini website, like a mini web page within your course. And then I put my information, the one I showed you had some text, some directions to parents. What I really liked about that preschool one, I closed it.
Excuse me, do you want us to see your screen? Because we can't.
Oh, I do that about once every other training. My bad. Thank you. Thanks for speaking up on that. I do that about every other training. Every other virtual PD I do, I forget to share the screen when I exit. All right, sorry about that. In that homeroom, oh, I didn't show you all of this, but the teacher has changed the course image. I showed you that in the beginning, and that was really easy. We just clicked edit picture. You can select one of the ones that Schoology has to offer here, just something besides that plain blue, or you can add your own custom image here. The preschool teacher we looked at put a picture of her students. Just bear in mind that if we are posting pictures of students, we should always make sure we had photo release on hand. If not, I would just use clip art. All right, editing our picture. Then we looked at the example of adding that folder, adding that link, and now I'm showing you in my practice course. And let me start over. Add materials. So in my course, in materials, add materials, I added a page. To that page, you have to give it a title. Or not, it's not a folder, sorry. You have to give it a title. Put whatever information you want to put as your message, telling them what it's about. Now, if you're creating it from scratch, you'll have to go down to the bottom. And right here, this tiny little icon, it says display on new page. If you leave it set to that, then it's a link to the page. But if you click it and change it to display in line, that is how that page becomes visible right in line from a computer. So I've got my message. I've got this button I can use here to insert content, so I can put a picture in there. I'm going to pull one I already had on my computer. I can resize that picture. And then I can put a hyperlink on that picture. So if I want them to go to my Twitter or whatever it is, it could be my Google Classroom link. It could be a link to the Scholastic materials for my grade level. It could be something else that I am using. I can paste that link. Now when I create that page, do bear in mind that any new created materials drops down to the bottom. You can see that it is displayed right there in line, and that clickable image works. I click it, and it opens up whatever link I have attached to it. Now, that was like a fire hose. I just, shared all those steps. If you want to learn better how to do visuals in your course, I have this Schoology for primary. It doesn't have to be primary. I really wish I had titled it differently, but I am focused on little learners here. Adding visual content. I'm going to drop a link to the video. I'm going to drop that right into our chat. So if you want to learn more how to do those visuals, you can view that video. All right. I don't have it scheduled to offer again this week, but I just want to make sure you have that resource. When you fill out your training contact feedback form, you can also select that you viewed a recorded virtual PD session. So if you viewed this recording, just put in there that it was my video. You can put my name in it, Rosemary Jane, as your selection for who led it, and then you can watch it in your own time and get contact hours for that as well. All right, we are in our last 5 minutes. We did see mobile. We only saw one exam. No, we looked at 2 examples. This is the older.
Rosemary?
Yeah.
Have a quick question coming from Colleen.
Okay.
She wants to know why you are recommending to link your homerooms together. She teaches grades 4 through 6 ELA. Yeah.
Oh, is it Colleen at Silverton?
No, this is Colleen Kling. I'm not sure what school she's at.
Okay, sorry about that. So The reason that I would recommend that you link your homerooms is so that this is just a great tip. I actually have been using this this tip since prior to all of this. This is going back a couple of years, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this was an example where an intermediate team, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade teachers linked their homerooms together. So they renamed the sections by their last name, each person's homeroom. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them together because there's 2 classes per grade at that building, 2 4th, 2 5th, 2 6th. They named it and linked it all together to share. Now this, you would need everybody on board for this or it's not gonna work. So maybe it'll just be, your 6th grade team that you would directly team up with. But within your building, if you link those homerooms together, you can have one place where your school information goes for everybody in the grade level. So you could hub everything in there. Now, if we look back at the example from Janine at North Avondale, the one that I told you about is using it for, she titled it remote learning. Let me pull that in. If you have multiple age levels, we know that we're not doing traditional grading right now the way that we had been. So you could even have a folder in there so that your students can link out to their 4th grade work, their 5th grade work, or within those folders, they can link directly out to their math assignment, their ELA assignment. So you could use that homeroom as a hub for everybody. I really like using homeroom as a hub, and I like it across grade levels, and I would be happy at a different time to get more specific. If you are on a team, let's say you're 9th grade, and you want all of your 9th graders linked together, you need to get all those homeroom teachers together and say, is this something we want to do as a team? But when we do that, we have that central location that our students can go to and parents can go to. And especially if we use that example where I showed, school information, we could put remote learning, intermediate, and everything could be hubbed right there. So that is why I recommend that as a tip, as a way to make it easier for you to have one place that you're sharing. All right, on the how-to, I did promise I would share some information. What I'm actually going to share with you is our resource. Sorry, under CPS Tech Talk. The specific how-tos of how to build all this content out, really today, remember, it was about connecting with our parents, empowering you with how to know if they're connected or not, how to get their access information, and like what you can be sharing with parents. Make sure parents know to download that mobile app. The other how-tos that we looked at, the other information we looked at is ideas for content that you can build that will connect to your parents. But in an hour, we just don't have time to learn all of it. So in our CPS Tech Talk course, pinned right to the top, is our schedule. And you can look on this schedule for all of our offerings. So it's just loading for a minute. You can learn about how to build elementary course content with me later today at noon. Ashley's going to be on that one too, so me and Ashley. Or you can get into like how to do hyperdocs. Documents with hyperlinks, that page that I showed you with pictures, that's actually a hyperdoc within Schoology, but it gives students some choice. Desmos, grades 5 to 12. There's tools for that resource from our math expert, Steve Phelps. We've also got some other offerings, but then on the next slide, we are now offering some extended virtual PD hours based on your feedback in that form. We realize that not everybody can get on at the time scheduled. For me personally, every session that I do, I record and it is uploaded to my YouTube channel. So Ashley, if you could drop that in one more time. The sessions I have held are on my YouTube channel. You can look on the schedule though, because now you might just not have time during the day, but we're starting to offer some evening sessions, some early morning sessions. So we're doing that in an effort to better meet your needs. So check out our schedule for how to do things like that, please feel free to use my YouTube channel and view any one of these recorded sessions. And when you're finished viewing it, then by all means, fill out that contact form again and get contact hours for viewing the recorded sessions. We are right at 11 o'clock. So we did hit every goal on my agenda for you this morning. And so make sure you do fill out your contact hours form. The goal is here to make this easier for our remote parents and students at home working. And so it's so important that you do get them connected to Schoology and that you do encourage the members on your team, or maybe even if you're doing a virtual staff meeting, to start putting at least a link to whatever they're using in their course. Again, we can just add a link right in our course. Sorry, that's not a course. We can just add a link right in our course to whatever that is, whether it's our Google Classroom, whether it's a Google Doc that we want to share with our students and give them instructions how to share it back with us. But there are really awesome tools built into Schoology that you can do everything you need to do in Schoology. My suggestion, though, is if you've already built a system that's working in Google Classroom, in Dojo, whatever it is, that you go into Schoology and you just at least share with parents and students, here's how we're communicating, and have a link to that. You can make it a picture. You can just make it an update. I don't think we really covered that, and I wish we had. You can just post an update. Whoops, I don't want to go into her course and do that. For that one, I'm going to go into my sample. You could just post an update giving them some information, or just one folder where you add a page and give them information. But just tell them in Schoology how to get in touch with you. They can send you direct messages. There's so many things you can do. I'm going to stop now because we're past our time, 11:02, and I have another training coming up at 11:10. So I'll take some last minute questions, but if not, please join us for another one of our sessions. Ashley, if there's no more questions, I'm just going to direct the group down in the bottom center. You can click the hang up button on the call. That'll take you out. I always like to model this for you. If you're ever doing a Google Meet with your students, you want to make sure everyone's left the call before you exit the call yourself. So please go to the bottom button and hang up. You're welcome. Greg, thank you for joining us. I don't see a lot of the chat when it's going on, but I really appreciate everybody's participation. Thank you. And thanks, big thanks to Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. Anything else I should address, Ashley, or are we getting ready to end this?
Nope, I think everyone is logging off. There weren't any other questions.
All right. Thanks so much for your help again. I'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good.
Bye.
Bye-bye.